I want to know what kind of questions would you have about making better money decisions. That's what I want you to talk to me about. So just answer that question for me. What kind of questions would you have about making better money decisions? Anything about money you want me to talk about in this series? Please raise your hand, and I'll be glad to respond. If you're watching from home, you can simply email your questions to pastor@overcomingbyfaith.org. That's pastor@overcomingbyfaith.org, and I do respond. I might scare you when I do, but I promise I'll respond, so please email me. All right, questions. What do you have? Money questions. Any questions that you want? I hope you talk about this during this week, Pastor Rick. I hope you talk about this money questions. The rest of you must be fine. Praise God. I'm glad. I got a prosperous church. Nobody has any questions? Yes, ma'am. What is your question? Don't worry. It'll come on. You keep talking about faith.
So the question is, because so many of us did not grow up with financial teaching or planning or anything, we come to our senior years, and what I want to know is, how do you give advice to seniors on making better decisions for their better days to come? You got a lot of people talking about financial wealth, but most of it is geared toward the younger people. And there's not many things that's available for the 50 and over group.
Well, one thing I think that people 50 and older forget is you're going to live longer. So you're still going to have 20 or 30 years. So the advantage you have is now. So you start as if you were younger in some ways. Now, I wouldn't say you invest like a young person. I wouldn't go out and take the highest risks, like you would maybe when you're 20s and 30s. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is do the basics. The basics are, number one, get a handle on your finances. Find out where you are. Number two, you want to make sure that you have open conversations about the facts. So how many more years do you plan on working? I think a lot of people retire and they go right back to work. They're back on a second job, but they're not thinking about, well, I'm back on a second job. Why am I not why am I not acting like I'm going to be here for 10 more years when I probably will be? Save. I like the 10-10-80 rule. My approach is forget what I didn't do. Can you say it with me? Come on, say. And let me do what I need to do. Right now. Come on, say right now. See, you didn't get the right now part. What happened? You just kind of faded out on that. Older people tend to dwell on what they didn't do. Even in your 30s, you can do that. You get trapped in that. 40s, all those different ages, decades, you get caught in, I shoulda. And then you daydream about what you should have done. That's not going to put any money in your pocket. Facing the fact that I will use everything behind me as a library book, every mistake I've made, every debt I've gotten into, and now I will do what I know to do at this age. I need to pay off my debt. If I can't pay it off right away, don't stress it. Put my debt under control, get it to a payment that I can afford, and then begin the saving process. So I believe in honoring God, honoring myself, and working on my problems. I call them dragons. And I slay them one at a time. And I don't stress and I don't feel guilty. And I say no when I have to. And I pause. So stop thinking you're going to die tomorrow. Plan to live for 30 more years and use all the wisdom you have from the past right now. How about an amen to that? You got that? Good. All right. What else you want me to talk about? And I'll pick that as a note to talk about that. And there's a couple of books I'll recommend too later. Yes.
I'd like to ask this question. How do we pass on what we have learned to our adult children, who are sometimes reluctant to want to hear our advice about money matters? We want to be able to do it without actually imposing on them.
Just wait around. They'll come to you. Broke has a way of motivating people. It does. It just motivates them. What daddy, what you think? Oh, mama, what you say? I have no gas money. I said, really? How old are you? What's going on? I'm real honest with my kids. And I believe that the Bible teaches that the greatest mentorship is not when kids are children. We've really got it wrong. We think, and I'm not saying these years aren't important, but we focus so much on the younger years that we forget in the Bible there is no instructions for 2-year-olds and 3. There are very few instructions for 2 and 3-year-olds, or teenagers even. All the people you see in the Bible, almost all of them are grown. Cain and Abel. Grown people, right? Noah's kids, looking at him naked. Grown kids, right? The people who got on the boat with Noah, all grown folks. They married. The people that put Joseph in jail, who were they? Grown people. Those are grown kids. The people who came over to Joseph when Joseph was had been promoted to be head of Egypt, his brothers, when they came looking for food, they were what? Grown, right? Their daddy sent them, right? So they must have still been relating to their father. They were concerned about the family starving to death. So they were all working together to solve a common problem. Go forward, keep going. When you get to Exodus, who do you have? You have Moses, who is 40 years old killing people. Are you with me? With a bad temper. Go on. I mean, there's almost always grown people. Grown children are a part of your life for life. They don't go anywhere. They just change addresses sometimes. Come on, give me an amen. Are you there? And I'm not against it. I love my kids. We have a good relationship. We work together. We're common. We're all in family. But I believe that there are some lessons you have to watch them learn, and then those lessons will help you. I'll say this. I normally don't talk about my friends out loud, but Dale Bronner told me something so funny one time. He said, yeah, my daddy used to make us go to those meetings with the business people, because they own Bronner Brothers, a hair product company. And he said that daddy used to make them go and sit in those banker meetings and all that. And they used to hate it. Oh, they said that he'd be proud and they'd be said, but my daddy was mature enough to understand that one day this would matter to us. And then he said he'd sit in the meeting when they took over the company, and he'd watch them make decisions that were wrong. He said, ooh, when they lose this much money, they'll I bet they'll learn now. And he wouldn't say a word. He let them make the wrong decision. He let them crash and burn and go, okay, what do you think? Everybody around, oh, we ain't going to do that again. The way he described it was hilarious, because his point was they'll learn, but hang around. Hang around and be there, and try not to let them kill themselves if you can help it. But they'll ask you. If not, just watch them. Watch the movie. Get some popcorn. Somebody else. But that's a good question, adult children. Somebody else. Money question? Well, is that it? All of you are rich and no other money questions. Got one more here? Okay. Is that it? I'm done before I get to my message. All right? One more and we're done. Go ahead. Hold on. No, the cut on by faith. Have faith.
Hello.
There you go, sir. Go for it.
Pastor, you alluded to investment. So where do we start if we're just beginning, like at my age, 69?
Plan to live to be 109. I mean, just start where you are. That's all you can ever do. The issue is dignity. The issue is having enough money, enough resources so that you have dignity. I cannot dwell on what I didn't know when I didn't know it. Abraham started at 75. Moses at 80. That gives you hope.
Amen.
I mean, really, I just don't believe in dwelling on what I can't change. And I think spending years dwelling on what I didn't know, what I can't change, what I did, that is just foolish. I cannot go back and here's what you do. Start a business, do something right now. 16, you're smarter than you've ever been. That's what I tell people. I'm back in school because I'm smarter than I've ever been. My grades prove it. I mean, at least the effort's in there, man. You don't have to tell me to study. You don't have to. I mean, it's the hardest work I've ever done in many ways, and not totally, but in many ways. Doctoral work is a challenge work, but it's okay. I stop. I'm refusing to dwell on what I didn't do. I think that is a mistake. It's an emotional mistake, because here's the truth: you cannot change that. If you spend your life trying to change what you cannot change, you're going to be miserable for a long time, because you cannot change what your grown children choose to do. You can watch the movie and eat the popcorn and pray for them and do what you can, but you can't own that. You cannot own or dwell on. There are reasons why you didn't have what you had. And I promise you, a lot of it was you were giving it away to help other folks and sponsoring other things. And sometimes you wake up and you are 69 and didn't know that time went that fast. I wish in many ways I could go back and make certain decisions, but here's what I've learned. I've learned that all things work together for the good. Can we get an amen to that? Praise God. Praise God. These are just things you hope I talk about. Go for it. Yep. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Pastor. Good
morning.
morning, everybody. White America has had a 400-year head start when it comes to financial literacy. I want to know, there's been a lot of discourse due to slavery and segregation as far as whether or not African Americans should receive restitution. So I want to know your thoughts on, if we were to get restitution, do you think it would help, and how do we handle and manage the money when we don't really know how to do that and haven't learned how to do that? So.
Girl, you threw me in there real quick. That was fast. Yeah, just throw him in there. Come on, Pastor. Swim, boy, swim. Here's the deal. Let me give you, now I'm going to give you my straight answer, and this is I'm not going to be political. I'm going to be real honest, okay? You ready? If I owe you $5 million, okay, and I make $30,000 a month, a year, okay, but I owe you $5 million, and I need to pay her back for some wrong I did to her. How can I pay her back if I owe you? I'm in trouble, right? So the government, as you'll see in your sermon notes, they take in, as a matter of fact, I'll just show you since she asked the question. I'll just get your notes out. Show you. Look down here under number 1, our nation is struggling. You see that? With money, decisions. Matter of fact, go down to number 2. The U.S. federal budget deficit for fiscal year 2020 is $1 trillion. 2020 covers October 1st, 2019 through September 30th, 2020. The deficit occurs because the United States government's spending of $4.7 trillion is higher than the revenue of $3.6 trillion. So my point is, every single year, they're spending billions more than they take in. They already can't pay for what they've already done. They got $20 trillion in debt. Now, we will all drown, black, white, Asian, everybody's going to drown if you keep running up the credit card. So it's not possible, based on the financials, for them to make any massive payments to anybody. And that's just the numbers. So you may have great feelings about it, but just look at the bank account. If I owe you $5 million, I can't pay her $10 million, and I owe you $5 million. And you're going to protest, no, she can't have $5 million. You see what I'm saying? We're in debt as a nation. So that's my first answer, okay, financially. I think a sorry is about all you're going to get these days, because there's no money. That's my financial answer. Now, any other emotional answer you got, fine, but the money is the money. Can you say amen to that, all right? No, come on, say amen. Now, money's the money. Well, they did pay for this. It's a credit card. They're paying for everything at this point with a credit card. They don't have any, they've spent up all the money. Anytime you make $474, I changed it last time. See, if you're making $364, okay, a week, and you're spending $474 a week, you are in trouble. This adds some trillions to it. It's making sense, okay? That's what they're doing. So based on that, that's my answer. Okay, I'm finished with that. Second part of that was, what was the second part of that? I'm sorry. Second part of that
Second part was, do you think it would help, and how do we do that if we don't really know how to do that and haven't learned?
I think that, I don't know that I agree that African Americans are 400 years behind. I don't know if I agree with that. I think that I think Americans are behind. I think there have been a lot of parts of the world where Africans, dark-skinned people have been ahead in history. I don't know that I'd agree that that we didn't have Dave Ramsey or something. I don't know what that, you know what I'm saying? And I just think what we have to do now is make sure that we go back to what grandmama taught you and granddaddy taught you. Do like this. Say, live on. Hand signals, please. Come on. Say, live on less than you make. That's it. And we knew that a long time ago. We knew about the power of saving money, saving effort. I just think we just have gotten away from it. And if you look at our history in this country, it really kicked in the 60s, 70s, 80s. Government spending went through the roof. Consumer debt went through the roof. And we got away from being really honest with ourselves about how we spend money. And they made these credit cards, which are, you know, I've used them. I've benefited from its convenience, but I've also been trapped by its bondage. I've survived it because I do well financially, but if I did not do well, I would be trapped. $5,000 would trap the average person 10, 15 years. They have no way to go make $5,000 above their normal income. As a matter of fact, if you look at your notes again, you got me ahead of myself, but it's okay. Under number 1 in your notes, under our nation is struggling, I said that according to a study, this is really a 2016 study, just 37% of Americans have enough savings to pay for a $500 or $1,000 emergency. 63% of people would have to resort to measures like cutting back spending, charging to a credit card, or borrowing funds from a friend if they had a problem. That was $500 to $1,000. It is the lack of cash. It is the lack of resources. So that if you have a $1,000 problem, you can just go and transfer and pay for it yourself without asking anybody, without borrowing it from anybody. That's strength. Come on, tell your neighbor, say, that's power. Come on. That's what you want. You want to have that kind of strength and ability. And so, anyway, that's the answer to that the best I can. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good morning, Pastor.
Good morning.
So my question is, why has it been difficult for the church to financially educate, equip, build up their members?
Thank you. I promise I'm gonna deal with a little bit of that today, but I will deal with more of that later. Thank you, Pastor Mike. Down. Church people struggle because of their theology. Church thinking, Christian thinking, is anti-wealth. You don't want me to talk about it. If I talk about it more than you're comfortable, you criticize. No, not in this church necessarily, but I'm talking about in general. You want me to do great things in the community with no resources. We are one of the few churches that have enough resources to do a lot of amazing things. But there are boundaries for us. But it takes a lot of money to do things. Just to hire you would cost me how much money? And to pay for your health care would cost me how much money? So that I can have your time to touch people. Multiply that times 45 people. And ask me, how much money does it cost to do this? What does it cost to have those cameras, these lights? What does it cost? It's not free. You know, it's really amazing how I think in our sincere effort to help people grow in Christ, we limit their life. We don't talk about love and relationships, so we have distorted views of love and relationships. Christians can have as high a divorce rate or marriage fallout rate as a non-Christian. It's really sad, and I think it's because of the way we think. We are not Jesus, and we don't think like him. We think we do. You know, put a little gospel song, wiggle a little bit, speak in tongues, fall out, you close to God. Really? Is that all it takes to be close to you? Right? That's all it takes to know you? Jump around a little bit, kiss a little bit, hug a little bit, dance a little bit. Oh, we in love. Really? No, it's not. It's more to it than that. And I think that the way we've been trained to think makes it hard for pastors to have honest conversations, to have honest dialogue. And so we are not as strong as we appear to be. And so I think that's part of it. But I'll say more down the road in the study. I'll take one more question. Is there one more? Are we done for the day? Back there in the back? Okay. We got 2 and we're done. Yes.
Good morning, Pastor.
Good morning.
Would you deal with generational wealth and how property impacts our culture? We don't do a good job with end-of-life planning, and so we see numerous dilapidated properties in this community, mostly because there's heirs property and there's no will, there's no planning, and how that impacts wealth.
That is next week's sermon. It is. But I will say this. I will say this to you. Part of the problem is, we don't understand. The Bible said a wise person leaves an inheritance for his children. There's something about thinking ahead financially that's difficult for people. It's been difficult for me because I'm such a right now giver. But I've had to learn that my assets are really important and how I manage them. Having a will is a fundamental thing that you should have. And we are in the process of, we've had one class, we plan on having another one, where you can come and learn how to do that. You need to think about that in a basic way. And I agree, but it goes back to what I said earlier. It's thinking. It's the way we think. And if you don't deal with the way you see the world, you'll end up with those problems. So I'll talk more about that later, but it is a good thing to talk about. Yes, one more and we're done. Yes.
Good morning, Pastor.
Good morning, sir.
Question that I have is, when it comes to money, savings is always the thing you hear all the time. How would you go about saving and being consistent with that?
Do it in small pieces. If you do money in big pieces, you're going to always have trouble with it. What I've learned is 10, 10, 10. You honor God with 10, save 10, live on 80. If you can do 20% savings, it's great. But what was my mistake was sometimes, and you can pass the mic down. What was my mistake was I'm such a big right now giver, and I've been fortunate to do well, that you just tend not to be afraid of debt because you can pay it off. You're not afraid of giving because you're going to make more soon. And so when you're always going to make more money soon, you tend to think that's going to always be true. And you never factor in, I could get sick, something could happen. And so then I really believe this too, and this might be surprising to you. I think some of us are afraid of large amounts of money. We're afraid of having, for example, some of you have never had $1,000 free cash ever. And when you see it, your mind say, oh, God, what am I going to do? Now, how do you know that? Watch this. When your tax return comes in, before it gets to you, they can't even mail it to you. You go to the people who borrow, you can borrow against your tax return, pay them a percentage of it so that you can have it right now. And when you get it right now, you spend it right now. And you broke in a week. You never had $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, whatever the amount you get back. And you are already planning to spend it. That's why they have commercials out, everybody's advertising, because they know sometime between February and April or May, people are going to be buying up stuff they don't need. And I need that laptop. I really need that laptop. I need that iPhone. I need a new iPhone. They got a new iPhone 6 months ago, but I need another one now because the new one has a retina on it. You take pictures, you never look at it. You know what I'm saying? It's hilarious. You see people at a concert they paid $50 to go to, and they filming the whole thing. Never gonna watch it again. They just want to. I'm a cameraman. They just want to film it. And so I think sometimes we think in large amounts, and you need to think in smaller amounts. My wife is a fierce $50 saver. Honest to God, she is. Now, you rob her, she ain't got no money on her. She broke. But she is good at consistently saving $50. And sometimes I used to look and say, wow, how'd you get all that money? It's okay, my $50. But she's consistent. And so success comes in what? Pieces. Pieces, not chunks. Did it help you a little bit? Thank you. God bless you. Let's get on with it. Come on, praise God.